couple, you know?
Oh, I don't think that was ever in question.
Spoiler warning for episodes 1 through 6 of WandaVision.
Hey, how are we doing today? So if you're into comic books, movies, or comic book movies, I'm sure you've come across this little thing known as the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You know, the collection of films that absolutely dominates the theaters. Whether you love or hate them, you must admit they're unlike any other set of films. With more than 20, for the most part, entertaining movies, they are absolutely unstoppable. As much as we enjoy these films, I think most of us can agree they're very similar. Most Marvel movies have a very similar formula, and while that formula is proven to be successful, it can get rather tiresome. Now, there has not been one bit of MCU content since Spider-Man Far From Home, which I think is good. It gave us some much needed time to miss those movies, which I think was very necessary. But now, the MCU is back, and possibly better than ever. Today, we will be talking about WandaVision, and why it's exactly what Marvel needed. Today, I will be breaking up this essay into 3 topics: the creativity, the story, and why it's perfect for Marvel. Keep in mind that just like Thanos, spoilers are inevitable. So if you haven't seen the latest installment of WandaVision, go check it out first. Trust me, it's worth it. The creativity. The one word I would use to describe WandaVision is unique. I can without a doubt say that WandaVision is one of the most unique and different shows to ever hit the screen. This mind-bending, reality-twisting show is extraordinary, and I can't get enough of it. The cinematography is always evolving as it switches between hilarious sitcom and horrifyingly sinister. The color grading is ever-changing and the aspect ratio is switched up rapidly. I could go on and on about how great the cinematography is, but I really don't want to bore you. Let's talk about our main characters, Wanda and Vision. Let's start with the latter. Now I know that this is probably unpopular opinion, but I sincerely think that this is the best version of Vision that we have ever seen. Personally, I've never really been a big fan of Vision, but this show has made me love him. He's comedic, but in a good way. It's not overly done, it's done with taste. He's charming, and most importantly, he's human. Now let's talk about Wanda. This version of Wanda terrifies me. She becomes more sinister and terrifying as each episode airs. I think this is a perfect way to show Wanda grieving over the loss of Vision. She's pissed, and she won't let anyone take him away from her again. You know they've done something special with Wanda when I care more about her than I do about Spider-Man. That's insane. I literally never thought that I would say that in my life, but here I am. I know those are very brief descriptions of the characters, but that's because I want to cover them further in...
Make or stop! Now tell me this. If I send an email, where would I put the stamp?
The story. The story is amazing. So far, it's the most complex and by far the most interesting story that the MCU has put forward. It's creepy, exciting, intriguing, and weird. It's not the bad kind of weird like the Green Lantern movie, but it's fresh and innovative. The story is about Wanda and Vision going through the decades on a sitcom, but the sitcom is created by Wanda, and it's monitored by S.W.O.R.D. At first, it seems that Wanda is under an illusion that she's being held there, but once you dive further into the story, it becomes clear that that isn't the case at all. In episode 1, Wanda and Vision have Vision's boss over for dinner. When he begins to question why they don't have a backstory, he begins to choke. In episode 2, when Dottie asks Wanda who she really is, a glass structure explodes and cuts Dottie's hand, which creates a colored cut in the black and white world. After her hand is cut, she changes the subject completely, seemingly forgetting the question she previously asked. This is where I first had my suspicions that Wanda was controlling her reality. It seems that it was confirmed at the end of episode 2, when, you know, she rewinds time as soon as she feels that her reality is being threatened by S.W.O.R.D. In episode 3, it all comes together. Wanda catches on to a S.W.O.R.D. agent undercover and brutally sends her back to the real world as soon as she mentions Pietro getting killed by Ultron. In episode 4, they dig into what's been going on with S.W.O.R.D. and what Wanda is really doing. And then, episode 5 happens, and everything changes. Vision catches on, discovering what Wanda has been doing to the whole town. He discovers that Wanda has been in everyone's heads, controlling them. They're all in pain, they're all suffering. And the ending. Oh my goodness, the ending. The X-Men Quicksilver, Evan Peters comes back. That made me so fucking happy. In the next episode, things get even crazier. We get to see more of Pietro, or Peter, using his powers, and it's amazing. We also get to see Billy and Tommy develop their abilities. Tommy becomes a speedster just like his uncle, and Billy achieves his mother's psychic abilities. But that's not all. Vision escapes the Hex, warning those outside. He tells Sword to help the people, to save the people from Wanda's control. This causes Wanda to freeze everyone in the Hex and expand the boundaries to save Vision, and it's absolutely insane. Wanda seems to be the villain of the show, and I love it. She isn't doing this out of malice or hate, rather out of pain. She couldn't bear to lose Vision, so she created a new world. A world where she never had to lose him. A world where she could be happy, although it's at the cost of others. It's fantastic. This is what makes me love the show so much. The trauma that Wanda has experienced through the years has finally gotten to her and driven her mad. This is also explored through the advertisements, which all have to do with Stark, Strucker, Hydra, etc., which are all traumatic themes for Wanda. Just a quick note, the 4th episode of WandaVision does the blip way better than Far From Home, which is unfortunate considering Far From Home focused more on the blip. That's kinda sad. Anyways, to wrap it all together, the story's amazing. My theory is that Wanda is either being manipulated by Mephisto, or she will become a complete villain by the end of the show. When the reality she's created eventually shatters, she will lose it completely. Will this lead into Wanda descending into a full-on villain, or will it lead to her shattering the multiverse? Who knows, but I'm sure as hell excited for it. Now, before we continue, I'd like to take a quick moment to talk to you about the Patreon. Wanda created a reality to cope with the death of her robotic boyfriend, and who can blame her? If you want to help my reality, please consider donating to the Patreon. For only $1 per month, you can get your name in the credits of every video. For $3 per month, you'll get unscripted movie reviews, early access to uploads, as well as your name in the credits. So if you'd like to support my vision, see what I did there? Please consider donating to the Patreon. If not, subscribing and leaving a like to support the channel is always appreciated. And go follow my Twitter at KYD Films. Alright, let's get back into the essay. Why this is perfect for Marvel. If you know me, you would know that I'm kind of sick of the MCU. To me, they're all too similar in style, formula, story, and execution, and frankly, I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of the constant need to crack a joke in a serious situation, but in WandaVision, the comedy has a sinister purpose. The comedy used in the sitcom along with the perfect laugh track is created by Wanda. I think that's a perfect way to use comedy, and I love it. I'll be honest, I wasn't extremely excited for WandaVision. In fact, it's probably the show I was least excited for. Wanda and Vision have never really been that interesting to me, especially Vision. But now, I would say they are the characters that I'm invested in most. The way we've seen Wanda evolve from a villain to an Avenger to a broken woman back to a villain again is frankly incredible. Marvel has done something that they haven't done before. They've taken a well-established and loved hero and turned her into a villain. Now granted, she isn't the type of villain that Ronan or Mysterio were, rather she's just trying to ease her pain, though it is at the expense of others. Marvel has finally broken out of their repetitive cycle and created a show that has captivated my interest. They've restored my love for the MCU, like I'm sure they have for many fans. Not to mention the surprise appearance by Evan Peters as Quicksilver. Damn, that was awesome. This is the type of shit that we need in superhero movies. Something that will challenge the norm and that isn't afraid of being different. And that's why it's perfect. It's risky. It isn't staying inside of the MCU box that has been around for over a decade. The last MCU project that made me this happy was Guardians of the Galaxy, and that was around 7 years ago. This makes me incredibly excited for other MCU projects. And that makes me feel good. The show is wonderful, creepy, exquisite, shocking, disturbing, and downright fun. WandaVision is perfect for Marvel. thank you for watching this essay. What do you think about WandaVision? Do you agree with my opinions? Disagree? Let me know. There may be a part 2 to this video where I discuss the ending and potential repercussions of the show, but I'm not quite sure. As always, if you're interested in shorter, unscripted movie reviews, make sure you check out the Patreon. I'm gonna try to make my next essay on a non-superhero movie, but we'll see. Once again, if you want further updates on upcoming essays and projects, make sure you check out my Twitter at KYD Films. Thank you for your support, and have a bloody diabolical day.
That was my grandmother's piano.